All right, let's see if we can get this running for once. It seems like the last couple times we tried to get this going, it struggled, but wanted to start a few seconds earlier. Looks like we are good to go. If somebody can give me a mic check in the chat, I would appreciate it. Again, we're a few minutes early, just hanging out. Holler at your boy if you don't mind for a second. Getting light. All right, starting chat. Please come on in. Oh, gracias, amigo. I hear you. Heard you. Last time I did this, some reason the updates is just funky. Just really annoying. How's the volume? Too loud? Too much? Not enough? Just want to mic check it because I have some new setups, but you know how it goes. When you start over, it can be a little good. Vol's good. Okay. Cool. Before we get started, anyone have any questions, thoughts, concerns? Again, going into today's action, it's interesting, right? We knew the CPI, PPI data, the start of earnings was going to be kind of the game changer. We knew the first 3 days of the week were just kind of trade at your own risk kind of thing. If you had some plays, which again, some of y'all had some really good plays. Trade it for what it is and then kind of play out. We know going into next week, it's, the Monday before the July expiration. Dow, I mean, you got some bearishness in there for next week with the OPEX. It's going to be interesting knowing that we know the economic data is like falling off a cliff. I mean, I can show you guys. I don't mind. But it just also goes to show you that, like, hold on one second. The economic data is definitely is slowing quickly, rapidly. But, what's the market going to do? Because, again, we know the Feds are only going to cut. What are they saying? Like, why is the rate cut now? Let's update it today. Sorry, I'm getting text. I got to put them on do not disturb. Of course, everyone wants to hang out and chat when I'm busy. It's the nature of the beast. Come on, refresh. So we know July, nothing. September 18th, 88%. 88%, right? That's a cut. If it stays like that, that is an absolute cut. We know the PPI, CPI, whatever, next month's data, just like you guys were talking about in the Discord room, but the oil price is up. It's not going to be down next month. That's for darn sure. So how does that affect the market? Like, how are they going to cut going into inflationary data? I mean, Biden tried to throw some more SPR out there. Didn't do shiznit. No, we know going into hurricane season, right? Supplies are low. Man, what could go right? What could go wrong? That's the hardest part here. Again, we know when the Feds start cutting, something's going wrong. And again, I see it all the time in the front line of real estate. Price cut. I mean, I talk to hundreds of people a week just in my local area. Then I also, talk with tons of other agents in my network all over the country. And everyone says the same thing. Depending on where you are, price cuts. The market is competitive. People are all saying something. I'm waiting for interest rates to come down. I can't afford to move. Why would I trade my 2.5% to 3.5% interest rate mortgage to buy a place that I'm going to get almost a third less of the buying power or more in downgrade, essentially? Why would I do that? Why? I agree. Your monthly payment. I mean, I know some of you guys know my situation. I looked at moving out just to rent someplace near term to get out of the place I'm at, just so I could put it on the market for rent. Rent's $3,000. My mortgage is $3,000. I'm like, well, that doesn't really make sense. I don't want to pay someone else's mortgage. So again, we're kind of in this weird spot. We know commercial real estate is falling off a cliff. AI is always going to over the next couple of years, again, is going to be replacing people. The need for being at an actual, office, depending on what business. I mean, again, there's got so many dynamics in play here. And it's like, okay, well, what are they going to do? How are they going to do it? How's this all going to play out? And it feels like 2008. Again, whether we get the action of 2008, but going into this election, it's almost like they want to create chaos. That's what it feels like to me, right? And so again, this up move, how long is it sustained? I mean, again, this is the thing. You're going to be wrong in the markets. It's not a big deal. Like, you can play individual names. I just tell people this all the time. Like, if you want to keep your full allocation into the stock market, go right ahead. We know the economic data, the trucking data, everything shows slowness. Okay. Again, risk happens quick. You just don't know. And so the more, it's like any trade, like you can manage your retirement the same way. The more you're up, the less you own, right? And think about, like, again, even like stocks like NVIDIA, all these names that have been rising. Look at the insiders. What are they doing? They're selling. They know this price action is not sustainable. So do yourself a favor. Again, do not be the FOMO person. Again, just don't have this mindset that trading is a guarantee and that you can never lose and things just can't, will always go right. I've seen that mentality, and that's where, again, people say diversify. Okay, diversification, I guess. But if, again, I look at this and you go, if you stayed all in tech for the next 10 years, I can guarantee you're going to not outperform. As we talked about, in this next wave of AI technology, the winner is not going to be the companies themselves. It's going to be the inputs. We have a shortage. We have underinvestment in such. You mean you have NVIDIA worth trillions of dollars with, what, 100 billion in revenue? I can't remember the exact number. But then you have companies like certain material companies, they're literally trading at 1, 2, 3, 5 times future earnings. Well, what happens when the prices of stuff, because again, they have printed all this money, and I mean, they're not going to be able to suck it out. It's just like 2000 and after 2001. Once all that money in tech, right? In tech moves on, where are they? I mean, again, money isn't destroyed. It rotates. It's going to find a home. And I'm telling you where it's going to find its home. It's going to be commodities. And so if you're not aware of that, okay, good. Got it. Here's that. It's great. So, all right. Any questions, thoughts, concerns? Not, I'll roll through the initial kind of little intro. I would like to keep this open for folks. And I know a lot of people just end up watching it later. And again, I appreciate it. All the love, support, generous donations. You guys, again, it's, as I've told people, like, what's the purpose of doing this? It's like, it's always been the same. I want more eyeballs. I want to teach more people how to do this well, so that when I go on vacation, when I'm not around every single moment watching the market, neither are you, that you can come into the Discord room, you can ask a question, you can talk to someone who's like, hey, I was watching that trade, or hey, anything going on in the market, and there's always somebody there, because 20 eyes, 40 eyes, pairs of eyes, better than just one. Because again, sometimes you can't see what you can't see, and you have your own biases. And again, I could be wrong, you could be wrong. No one's playing the certainty game. That's not how trading works. And if you think that's how trading works, you are misinformed. Because again, if you ever read Reminiscent Stock Operator, you realize, like, the game was really created to take the most amount of money from the most amount of people, and it still is. Now, long-term trading is different, right? Like, if you're just buy and hold, you're just riding the long-term upsize in the market, which typically it does, but it's not always going to be straight up. It's always going to be straight down. All right, new channel, check out Twitter. Again, posting some fun stuff on the area where I'm at. If you're ever looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate, I promise you it's worth giving me a call, taking 20, 30 minutes to chat. What's your processes? Like, how are you buying? Are you only buying through the MLS? Do you have an agent who's actually calling off market, works with investors who might be looking to unload so you can get discount prices? I tell this all the time. If you want to get your Uncle Sally, your Aunt Sally, or your uncle to just, your sister, whatever, do your typical buy, sell, go right ahead. But if you want to find an agent, and you get 2 for 1, because I'll work with you, as well as agent that I can find in my network, that's actually going to dig into the market, try to find off-market deals, maybe mail out flyers, maybe even, and again, I don't mind this, calling in particular neighborhoods to potentially see if there's sellers that are going to, before they come to the market, finding, off-market deals. Are you thinking about creative finance? You know what subject to is? Seller financing, rent own, all these things. Do you want to work with just a basic agent that all the noses go, well, I'm going to click on the MLS and I'm going to find you a house? Okay, well, guess what? You're probably not going to be finding the deals. But also telling people, if you're looking forward to it and you're looking at interest rates and you're thinking, man, I really want to get on top of this at some point, telling you, start now. Be prepared. Do not go into this and go like, well, when it floods out and everyone's trying to jump in, you haven't established a relationship with an agent, you haven't talked to your lender, you haven't prepared for this, and all of a sudden you're like, rates are coming down, the world's ending, this is the time to buy, and you haven't done the homework. It might be a little harder to get those relationships and those people all dialed in, lined up. Maybe you don't even know what houses you're looking at. Again, start today. Worst case scenario, you don't have to commit to like all in. Just start the process. Again, use the Coulling link. Holler. Again, check out the website. Again, you want the recommended reading. Do not sell yourself short on these books. I'm telling you, you don't need to know everything about everything all on the market. It's simple. How the operators work, how volume price analysis works, and then the seasonality and the trends. It's really that simple. Again, appreciate all the like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. So, again, we know going into September, whatever. Bitcoin chopping around. Again, this is what I've tried to warn folks endlessly. Again, we know when the Feds pivot, money will fly into the commodity, potentially digi currency space. Until then, again, I have no desire to chase. And if I'm wrong, great. But guess what? It's going to be a multi-year cycle. I don't mind being a little late, right? If you think about first stage, second stage, and third stage moves, right? It's the first stage is the choppy little up move, pullback. Second move is a bigger and choppy, and then has some choppy. And then the third stage is like the freaking linear straight line J curve. You're not in the J curve on any of these commodities in all of these spots. So again, I'd rather, if you've ever traded in the market and the VIX gets over 50, 60, 70, 80, you will be mind boggled by what you can see. Your head will explode when you see people just literally throwing away stocks, panicking. And once you've lived through that, you go, okay, well, at some point the VIX is going to pop. There's going to be some issues. I'm just going to wait because I don't want to trade and then downside get caught. And say you buy the wrong stock, say some shit happens, excuse my language, that ends up being related to, when the tide goes out, you see who's naked. Oops. Who's naked? You don't know until it happens. Again, we like natty gas. Just roll through charts. If you have any questions, don't hesitate. Was looking at this today, the XLF back at the highs. Again, you want to take stabs at this? JP Morgan, Wells Fargo. We talked about this. JP Morgan, if they're not buying back their own stock, they're telling you exactly how they feel about the future. Correct, right? Wells Fargo. Net interest, not so hot. Not so hot right now. Gap down. Citigroup, again, they were celebrating their earnings, but it's like, your growth is 3% year over year. What's the multiple on this? What are you paying price per book? Get out of here. Okay. So that's the first wave of financial earnings. And again, we talked about the KRE playing games. And this is why the summer sucks sometimes. And that's why I tell you, I'm not going too heavy on things. Again, people are talking about day trading. I'm like, smart. I don't blame you. Get in, get out, move on, do what you got to do. Take your nuggets and walk, because some days it's not going to be easy. There's not a lot of volume. There's wide and loose action. Here you go. I'm sitting here going, well, shit, are they going to fill this gap? You're close enough now, right? Because I was thinking about shorting the IWM, and we know that the IWM has a high weighting in financials, junior financials. Okay, just keeping an eye on it. Just keep an eye on it. When you zoom out, you go, okay. And again, if you appreciate these live chats, because I can really explain to you my thinking here. It's hard to post to Twitter or type it all out, and it's like, So go back to the IWM. I'm itching to short it, but it's like, okay. Trash floats last. We know that. Looking at the 215 area, right? Oh, whoops. It's like, come on, Dan. Drive the car better. You've got, what was it? Was it the weekly or monthly? I can't remember. You've got a ton of resistance. I don't know. It's hard to see, but 222 would be the next target if you really broke out. But this 215, 216 area, it's the bottom of the VAP. I'd be watching. Again, don't bring a freaking ruler. Don't sit here and go, oh, how's it? But I set an alarm for 215 because I want to see a multi-day range, right? Could this end up just being the freaking hammer up top and it's just like, well, you missed it? Okay, that's possible too. But again, I'm watching the KRE and I'm like, man, if they squeeze that and they get it back up there and they fill that gap, okay, it makes sense. It makes sense why 215 would be an ideal area. QQQ, again, this is where it gets a little stunner, right? Like, boom, 8-day, 10-day. We talked about that and how you bounced today. And so everyone's like, oh, all is well in the world. Everything's fixed. Okay, we'll see what happens here. A candle has volume, right? Again, at worst, you will get a pullback. That's my, like, guarantee. Guarantee. You will get a pullback. How deep, how hard? I mean, is that it? I mean, that would be nuts. Looks like the 486, 487 would be the first place I would absolutely think it got to. SPY at the high of the day as we speak. Man, railroad tracks, tweezer top. I mean, the volume today, but bring it back up. Again, going to earnings, I guess everyone's getting excited. Difficult. This is hard, right? This is not easy, y'all. Gold, a lot of people talking about gold. I'm like, all right, cool. What's up, Joe? Like inside day, trading around. I mean, we talked about the July seasonality. There's always some seasonality in July. If you played it, cool. We talked about it in June, cool. All right, if you want to trade it, you think you're going to break out? Again, I can't sit here and tell you I know anything for sure. But just watching it. Again, if you do like the metals, again, always watch the miners. The miners lead. Miners lead, okay? They always do. I do like seeing that the GDX is up. Newmont attempting to break out. That should be good for metals. Let's just see if that can sustain. That's all I would ask yourself. And again, you really want to see the GDXJ because the junior miners are the highest leveraged, right? Like those that knows, the nose, right? Like they should be pumping this shit. So, and again, people are like, well, why aren't you buying it, Dan? It's like, well, this guy has been trading this ETF since the start. And I can tell you for fact that even 2008, 2009, again, if there's and again, COVID, right? 2016, China stuff. Anytime that the markets get shredded, miners don't seem to be immune until the liquidity is pumped in. Because why is that? People go, oh, I don't understand. Again, miners usually don't have very good leverage balance sheets, especially the juniors, right? And so what happens? They get crushed. They're like all of a sudden, like that credit card got cut off. Make sense? So XOP, again, I've been trying to tell people, like, watch this trade. Because again, you can have any of your ideas on oil and gas. It seems that if Trump is winning and something's going on involving him, I think you're going to get bounces. That could be like a trade you can play the rest of the summer into the election. Now, again, how will it act between there? That's the question, the $1 million question. I don't know if you'll really break out, but I think you will be able to play dips that can be bought. Solar, as we talked about, was just baiting. Okay, getting that oversold bounce. Good luck. 10 cuidado, right? I mean, again, First Solar's got really nothing today. I thought it would be up like 6-7 points, getting back up to maybe that 240, 20-day area. Okay, keep an eye on it. Running through the tech. Adobe, again, sometimes this is why it's like you really want the retest. Helps you out. Thought we'd get a little higher. I mean, I like that. Short. It looked like a dead cat. Squeeze, pop. Apple, people are like, oh, I don't know if I can short it today. And it's like, yeah, it's there. I'm going to pull this screen back out. It's there if you want to take it. Multiple 2-day range here. Very simple, right? Let me pull you some 10-minute charts. Right, so that's after hours. Some of this action, but I mean, again, you could, I don't know, how do you want to draw it? Something like that. I'm looking over here, some of these candle bars. Okay, here's your reference. Take it, leave it. Yeah, buy the dip, I guess. Sure. Amazon, we talked about hitting the 200 area again. Homies in the Discord room, JSouls is big time, posting it. Again, I love when you guys post those calls things. Again, I can't see all that stuff, so I appreciate it. No, you don't have to do that, and it means a lot. Here you go. Right? That 200 chop zone. Meta. Oh, Scott, buy the dip on the Qs. Okay, yeah, sure. Finally breaks the 20-day, gapping down. Again, it's very obvious to me that the breadth changed. Again, why would chasing tech up here is again, it's but here you go, been right so far. I don't care about the past, right? Like there's no money to be made on what I know in the past. Like if that was, again, if take me back in time, sure, let's go back in the freaking time machine. Yeah, it's always about, remember, trading is always about what to look for moving forward, right? It's always evolving, it's always adapting. And so again, if you're just going to say buy the dip endlessly forever in tech, I wish you luck. Again, you can see the breadth, you can see the insider selling, you can see the action. It's just, do you want to chase it? That's your choice. Again, and no one's going to say it wasn't right. We're talking about from today moving forward. That's the problem. Like that's the question you have to ask yourself, right? The breadth changed the last couple of days. Okay, cool. CRM, talked about this being the top. That's just got to be careful. I mean, again, like, here you go. Google, like, all right, buy mega tech. Okay, I mean, these things have been on monster runs. And what do we talk about? We talked about literally the stage 3 is like the straight line up move. That's what you had to be scared of. Here you go. Microsoft left, right combo, 20-day, right? MicroStrategy has this split coming. Talked about it. Worst getting up here to like the 50-day. All right, there you go. Again, this could run if Bitcoin runs, but it also could run based on the split because we know what people do, right? They go, oh, split means something great. Just more shares. Pan W again, another J Solstice posting. Again, we've liked this one for a while. Again, I do believe cybercrime is a big issue long term. As long as it holds a 20-day, it just looks like it's playing this game where it just doo-doo. I mean, these are sometimes what people consider hard, but it's like if you're long term, no, you're like stair step. Again, I wouldn't short Pan W. Tesla, interesting action. We talked about this getting up to the highs. You hit the blue zone, the top of the VAP zone. Again, if you're following channel, you're like, fuck yeah, excuse my language. But then also too, you're looking at like the bottom of the VAP zone, which matters. Imagine that, holding 230s. Now, if you bought the dip this morning, you're feeling pretty good. Feeling randy. All right, well, now what? Ooh, this is where it sucks. Like, this is where it not sucks, but this is where it gets hard. Right? Like, that candle, at worst, is going to lead to some consolidation, or it's a top. So, trade around your position. This is where, again, summer trade, fun. Splash pad, having fun, swimming, trading, doing all these things to be, trade it. Again, that's the summer, man. That is the summer. Intellectual property. We talked about this. Dead money. But until it broke the 50-day. And then again, some of the folks, I'm just talking about the call options coming in. I'm like, not surprised. It's breaking the 50-day after a long consolidation of months and months and months after it getting beaten from 51 down to 29. Yeah. Okay. And now once it broke over, boom, fills the gap. We talked about that. Now what? What do we say? High and tight's good for Intel. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't hit the 100-day. I mean, here, do you want to draw some fibs? If you're really worried, like, where could it go? A lot of different potentialities. Again, there's talk about, again, more investing in the U.S., Intel being the benefactor. Okay. SMCI, again, this is one I'd be on red alert for the split game. These stocks that get up, they go from 250 to 1,000 plus, right? Like management's just like itching for a reason to pump the stock again. And it's like, ooh, if the stock split works, like this has to be on your red alert. Again, red alert for such. And if you do short it, right, just be quick. Because that, to me, that's the biggest scare on shorting that. The headline comes. NVIDIA holding the 20-day. We talked about this. Okay. Here, let's buy NVIDIA. Gotcha. And here we go. Talk about like a first stage breakout. And then you chop. Then you get the second stage. And then you get like the pullback. And then boom. Saw some old odd puts. 850 for this one. Okay, cool. Thank you. Maybe no split or back. Yeah, that could be an easy hedge too for August, right? But again, this is literally like, draw this chart, and people are talking about gold and commodities. Here's your first stage, right? You base out, you play games, you get no nice run, and then you go consolidate. Then you go real, steep, and then you pull back, and then you just, it's game over. No, I'm with you on SMCI. I don't think I would short it. But again, I thought their earnings were pretty good. But again, call me stupid. This is why to me, we're like, you're shorting up here? I'm like, are you fucking kidding? Why wouldn't I? Again, with tight stops, trying to enter and manage the position correctly. Again, if I get stopped out, fine. But this thing goes from what, 10 to $1.50, 40, whatever. Okay. No one's saying it can't go higher. Again, I don't trade in certainties. My brain doesn't need to wrap around certainty. It just needs to wrap around an idea with risk management and defining it. This makes sense. Lower high, the 20-day breaks. You're going to fill this gap at some point. How deep does it go? I don't know. But it's like talking to somebody when Tesla was at 400, it's 2021. It's going higher. If everybody believes that, I want to short it more. Now, again, do I want to short it? Just short it? No, I'm trying to identify the levels. Make sense? Cool. AM Dizzle. Again, if you have questions, holler. You have comments, I don't mind. Jump in, interrupt. We talked about this one. Again, as long as it held trend, has it piece of not, right? And then finally, all right, you get a little pump. There you go. And I think some people, again, looking at, said the 50-day, getting over it. Cool trade. Micron. Here you go. Here's again an example of being careful chasing, then earnings. 50-day is the key. Taiwan Semi, again, I'm mind-boggled that anyone would be buying this. But hey, chopping at the top, keep an eye on it. Again, I'll go into insight. I like this company a lot. I think they will get bought out. If you want to take it to the grave, again, zoom out. Big consolidation pattern. Big chop around. Now, does it mean it's going to got a fly in the house. Does that mean it's going to blow up tomorrow? No. This one might be stuff it in your portfolio, disappear. Thank me later. Again, why? Again, look at the market cap. Look at their pipeline. All the public information. They've had good results on some things. Management that they brought in was meant to lean up, right? To lean up, go. So, 37 PE with an AI growth, deep value for semis. Which one are you talking about, Scott? To me, this looks, and again, I think it's trading at a 22. Give me a second. What's the PE on this? What is the PE? PE on Insight is 17 with a market cap of 13.5 bill. Again, I like that for a mid-cap bio. I guess it's not mid-cap at 13 billion, but it's not a mega, right? So think about it. Doubling the market cap takes it to 25, which it was once upon a time. Again, stuff that in your pocket. Let me know how that goes. McDonald's, no, didn't break down, so popping back. Not surprised. DKNG, again, we talked about this little trap pattern. Again, I'm not saying go all in long, but when you have a range and you break below it and then you come right back, typically you can get a little poon bounce. Punjabi. McDonald's, same kind of thing. Airbnb. Man, this is just, again, I don't know how that business is going to do well. But, yeah, especially with all the regulations. Costco, here you go. Like, this thing has been not deep discount. I've been on fire, right? That, to me, says what? I was supposed to say what? Like, that's going to, that worse, you're going to go into chop. Big volume chop. Starbucks. Right, just kind of flipping. We talked about this as a trade down here. If you want to see the bounce, this makes sense. Again, trying to post all these trades, and I'll always write no, but pretty good, obvious setups. FedEx, again, I like the short up here, but if the market's holding up, you shouldn't get too excited. Caterpillar, we know earnings coming up. Who was it? Deere was laying off more people yesterday. Ugh. Now it's in a chop range. Again, rising tide can lift all boats, so pick your shorts well. Pick your pants well, right? The good old Nucor, again, we talked about it. Here you go. Chop around the low. Said maybe there's a professional gap. Okay. How high can you go? I said maybe 200-day, 170s. Looking like an easy trade. Nothing really else out there too excited. Unless someone, again, this is where show me what you're looking at. I don't mind. Oh, XHB. Oh, man, the housing. Look at this. Said 109s yesterday. Look at this. Ugh. Okay. I guess you're getting back up. I guess housing all of a sudden just woke up. Interest rates went from 7 to 6.5. Deep discount mortgage. Discount. Get it. Get it. You're saving 0.5%. Yeah, we'll see what happens here. But again, this is where the summer games. I guess it's the Olympics, the summer games. Any other thoughts, questions, concern? Because if not, I can wrap this up. 30 minutes of your time, I appreciate it. Or if someone has like a trade, like, hey, check this out. Again, I can see the Discord room. What is your delight? So again, I appreciate you taking the time just to hang out. This is what again, been a little busy. MSD pumping today, I think, the short-term bottom. Yeah, I mean, if Bitcoin's holding that range lows, I mean, this is the thing, right? Like, as you know, because you've traded in MicroStrategy, going into a split, like this thing has upside potential. Like this thing could be right back to 1700 in the blink of a fart. You ever heard that one? So again, if you're trading around it, you could play buy dips, all dips of any decent stature intraday, as long as the market's holding up, Bitcoin's holding up. I mean, this might be one of the easier trades. Again, because we know people will chase into a split, right? I mean, at worst, why wouldn't you get back to 1500? So again, this is the thing about this stock. If you can find some dirt cheap calls after you make some good money, maybe you buy some way out of the money, just like you go lottery tickets, right? Because you could know if you bought some, say, 1,500 calls for $10 or something silly 2 weeks out. I don't know what they're priced at the moment, but you get my point. It's a lottery ticket. You could turn 10x on that sucker real quick. But if you made a good amount of money and you're willing to, again, this is why we always talk about like your options trade capital should always be like at most 10% of what you would trade on the stock. So say if you if you were going to trade the stock, well, how much would you be willing to trade with the options? That's the question only you know the answer to, but it would make sense to me if you wanted to do that. Like I'll put $5,000 out there on calls and see what happens, knowing it could turn into 50 and you already made 20, 15, 10, I don't know, whatever numbers you've made. Again, it's not rocket science. It's not big. Like, again, not big, what's the best way? It's knowing and defining your risk. And that's why sometimes options can be awesome. Define your risk. You know it. And people would say, well, you're saying buying out of the money. Well, this case makes sense, right? If you think there's going to be a big split and there's going to be a big move and you want to mitigate your risk, because if you buy at the money, you might have to pay $30, $40, $50, $60 an option. So, all right, well, I'm going to get rolling. I appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, you know where to find me. I'll be hanging out all afternoon, doing some work, just watching the markets. And again, I appreciate you showing up, hanging out. If you ever want to just pop a quick chat, again, DM me, use the Coulling link. Always here to help. I love you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll try to probably do the weekend recap either this afternoon or Sunday. Going fishing tomorrow. Gone fishing. All right, y'all. Peace.